Well, it turns out there was a mass shooting over the weekend with an AR-15, and to the media's chagrin, it turns out it wasn't a white person. Ah, dang it. I know. We really wanted another white person to be the mass shooter. And when the media found out that he wasn't Caucasian, they were livid. They were so upset, which is why this story is going to be getting buried and why we need to talk about it. GatewayPundit.com reports they've all been deported and we no longer have to lock up our deodorant. No, that's not what's happening. They're actually still killing people. Who is they? Who are they, though? Manhattan mass shooter identified as 27-year-old Shane Tamura. This story is crazy from Las Vegas. Christina Lila reports, the Manhattan mass shooter has been identified as a 27-year-old Shane Tamura from Las Vegas. At least 5 people are dead, including a police officer, after Shane Tamura opened fire in a building in Midtown. Now, Tamura reportedly wore a bulletproof vest as he walked into a 44-story building in Midtown Manhattan on the 51st and Park Avenue and opened to fire on multiple people before turning the gun on himself. The New York Post reports that a crazed gunman wearing a bulletproof vest opened fire inside of a swanky Midtown skyscraper that, quote, houses Blackstone and NFL headquarters. Not to confuse this Blackstone with the good Blackstone, which is how I cook my Wagyu steaks. And that's a Blackstone we can all get behind. If my grill ever started giving me inverse loans that were meant to confuse my capital gains and actually end up robbing me long-term with insane amounts of debt burden, then that might be the Jewish version. But mine's just a cast iron. You know what I mean? Doesn't ever rip me off. But anyway, it also says that he turned the gun on himself. The Post reported that the suspect barricaded himself inside and was found dead from a gun-inflicted gunshot wound on the 33rd floor. And gosh dang it, man. I saw those stupid accounts on Twitter being like, you don't know how serious it is that he killed himself on the 33rd floor. What do you notice? And you're like, all right, shut the hell up. Shut up, you freaking idiot. We got a pretty crazy story here. There's a lot to unpack, but I don't need your freaking bullshit. You know, I hate these accounts. But jumping over to Braden here, I think what we kind of want to talk about, and I think what tends to be like the actual funniest part, is that they describe the shooter as possibly white. Before there was any details out, they just heard that there was a mass shooting. Check this out.
Scene showing you here. John's reporting that they do know what he looks like. Male, possibly white, mustache, sunglasses, in that building, isolated to, they believe, to various locations, including male, possibly white, mustache.
A male, possibly white. Look, let's just start here. The media is so hell-bent on attacking white people. This anti-white agenda is just disgusting. But we all know it's true that a literal Blasian, this is a brother. This is a brother with a squint. You know what I mean? He's a black man who don't wear no lokes, you know? He's definitely black. What is Anna Perez reporting at CNN these days? You know what I mean? It's like he's white. I don't know. I thought it was funny. Everyone's talking about this, but I do think it's funny that immediately the goal is to take a shooting and make it about race, particularly about the white race and how we're evil and violent. And it's just kind of like, hey, sorry for bringing you civilization, third world, but you know, our violence did produce everything that you currently own and understand. However, we are actually not the violent race comparatively. And I think it's unfair and their bias is showing.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because you see it with a lot of the arrest reports as well when you're looking at who gets arrested, and they'll have Hispanic men, they'll have black guys, Arab guys, all labeled as white, and people don't check case-by-case analysis, and so they'll just see, oh, white people commit way more crimes, and they'll take it at face value. And so I think CNN was trying to do something along those lines with this as well, just hoping that no one really dig deep into this story. Unfortunately, for them, obviously, he wasn't a white guy. And so I don't see this story surviving the news cycle in the next 24 hours. I think this will be immediately pushed out. No one's going to care about the Blackstone CEO. No, they might talk about the NFL situation. They might talk about the 33rd floor, which for the record, I don't know what that means. All those accounts are going, what do you notice? And I'm looking in the comments for an answer and no one has one. So I don't know what the 33rd floor is. And lastly, because he's a black dude, because he's not a white guy, he's just going to be dropped from the news cycle, because that would go against the narrative. And I know there were accounts like even Gunther Eagleman posted, you don't hate the media enough. They hate white people. And everyone was like, who's in charge of CNN? Who are all the top executives at CNN? That's so anti-Semitic of you, Gunther. And they started going, and I wonder if he ever reads those comments, but it's just a whole anti-white trope. I think
the
point.
CEOs are Gunther Eaglemans, right? Isn't that true? I think they're Eaglemans. So that's a statement. And dude, two protects one. We'll just call you by your call you by your screen name, just that way to give you a little bit of a concealment here. I don't want to put you on a jumbotron at a Coldplay concert. You know what I mean? So watch yourself.
True.
But you know, anyway. But they say don't stick your dick where you don't want people to know. So that's what they do say. It's true. If those things that are done in darkness get brought into the light, and sometimes you get exposed for having sex with gay black men at a Turning Point conference, and it's devastating.
It happens, man. What
It
can
happens
you
to
do?
the best of us. Dude, what's up, man? I mean, dude, you have some good analysis on this. Your dad, your husband, you know, you're white. You made white kids. It is alarming as a dad, I would say for sure, that, you know, they're making a world where our kids are going to be, you know, they're going to be disadvantaged. They already are in so many ways in the job marketplace, but like they're really just making a world that's uncomfortable for white people. And it's like, I think we're angry. I think we're mad, and I think we're fed up, and it's kind of got to end.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's crazy nowadays, like the amount of anti-white propaganda that happens. You know, and to be totally honest, I have 4 white kids, you know, and you think about this type of stuff, and I just feel like society's getting worse. The propaganda on the news is getting worse, and we're just, I don't know, it's like minorities are propped up and white people are put down constantly, and we're made to be like the evil villains when in reality it's the exact opposite.
You know, the stupidity of like the world and how things are going. I posted a video and it went really viral, and I realized people are mad. You know, I was talking to my mother-in-law. Dude, I got my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law and my wife all living in my house at the same time. It's a 3-on-1.
That's nice, peaceful.
That's like getting jumped by a gang of Lake Worth people. You know what I mean? It's like, but emotionally. No, I love them. I love them to death. But you know, basically all I was gonna say is I was talking to them today, and I was like, you know, my mother-in-law is starting this company in Australia to help Indians be white, basically, like, to help them be Western, because they're having such a hard time integrating these people. It's like how to be a heritage American, like wear deodorant. It's just like classes to help them to like be a Western, right? And I was thinking about, I told her, I was like, that's kind of funny. You're sort of like a funeral home manager, but for like society. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of like making a hard thing a little bit easier for all of us. Because nobody wants these people in their country. Nobody likes these people. In fact, Indians don't even like each other. They have an entire caste system because they think that like 90% of themselves are terrible. And I just saw they don't even let people with dark skin in their movies because they think that they have a colorism. They're the most racist people on the earth.
Asians.
Okay?
I think Asians beat them barely.
Well, they're racist against themselves. Is
True.
what I'm saying.
The most self-racist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have racism against themselves. And I saw this video today. Dude, we are so cooked. Look at this. This is at a hotel. Watch.
Okay.
One room key or 2 room key?
2, just in case I lose one.
Yes, I will just make this for you.
It's as loud as the video goes.
Signature, but it says guest signature. Let me just process your room registration form.
Please wait while we process your registration form. Please note that we have a strict policy of no smoking, no pets, and no visitors allowed in any of our guest rooms. Signature must match the one on your ID.
Also, by the way, guy, showing your signature on like a video, like all your card information stuff, probably not the brightest thing in the world, but I love how, like, can we go back to that image here for a second? You know, when we talk about like this shooter and stuff, I'm just reminding you guys that like, my opinion is that, yeah, okay, the racism is there, and that is like a problem, the anti-whiteism, but to me, the main anti-whiteism still is the shipping blue-collar jobs with your hands overseas. It's outsourcing jobs in these, you know, this is like a small La Quinta, probably in a white neighborhood, you know, taking away small jobs from American citizens in general. And, you know, oh, well, we can't import the third world. Now we'll outsource all of our jobs. People were mad about this. If you look at the comments, people are super pissed. This is Miami, right? You said?
Well, it said in Miami. That whether that was Miami, Ohio, or Florida remains to be seen, but probably Florida, considering it's already pretty diverse down there.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunately. I don't know what you guys thought about that, but I'm like, what the hell are these Jeets doing? What are these Jeets doing?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. I just thought like the entire destruction of the West is in full scale motion, and the anti-whiteism isn't CNN saying, oh, well, you know, it's possibly white. In my opinion, it's this entire immigration issue. And I think Trump's only kicked out like 38,000, and he's doing it with like masked thugs in the street for some like photo op, so it looks like dangerous and scary, when it's highly ineffective. and Obama deported way more, and you never even heard about it. I just feel like this attack on white people is so much deeper that if we get like this boomer slop, you know, oh, CNN said this, it's so bad. Fuck CNN. People don't even watch that.